Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Google Cloud Next and welcome to Dev 206, Scaling with Cloud Identity for Customers and Partners. My name is Marc Jordan. I am a product manager in Google Cloud and I literally only think about identity. I'm joined today by my dear friends and colleagues Pierre and Francois, who I'll invite to join me on the stage in just a moment. But I'm going to take you through a little bit first. Francois, Head of IT Operations, and Pierre, the Chief Technology Officer of Mailjet. So as I said, I'm going to talk to you about the way we think of Google Cloud's identity platform. I'm going to invite Pierre up to talk about Mailjet, and then Francois to discuss how they've implemented identity platform to scale their global business. Finally, we'll round it out with some questions. I encourage you all to ask questions in the session or catch us afterwards in the hallway. Happy to dive deeper, happy to talk more. So, identity platform. Going back to December last year, we announced Cloud Identity for Customers and Partners, or CICP as we endearingly called it, as a public beta. And over the last 3 months or so, we've seen phenomenal traction. We've had thousands of developers, literally thousands of developers come to our platform and onboard for all sorts of different use cases. We've had people build identity for things. So they've gone from credentials on things out there in the wild to short-lived tokens that are issued by our platform, being able to interact with Google Cloud Platform to sort of push up analytics, push up data, get things from storage. We've had people build MDM-style platforms, so logging onto Windows and Macintosh machines and using the platform that we've built as the source for credentials. And we've had people build next-gen intelligence platforms across Google Cloud Platform and all of other Google, a set of Google services. And we took this feedback, we reveled in the fact that these customers are really getting a lot of value out of this service that we were providing. And we thought to ourselves, this Cloud Identity for Customers and Partners, it can surely do more than what we're positioning it as. And so we went back to the drawing board, and I've got two big announcements today. The first, the service is now generally available, and so I encourage even more developers to start to bring their production-critical workloads to our service and have this strong foundational platform. The second thing is we're rebranding the platform as well. And so what was CICP is now simply known as Identity Platform. And with that, we're bringing all of the samples, all of the SDKs, all of the documentation, all of the things you'd expect from a platform, so you don't have to build identity. You don't have to think about cryptography. We have all of that covered for you. So, what is Identity Platform? And really, this is about taking Google's extensive knowledge and giving that to you, our developers, and to our customers as a service. So you can take all of the lessons that Google's learned, all the battle hardening, all of the stress testing that we've done over decades hosting consumer services, and build that into your services. So we break it down into a few different pillars. First and foremost, we want to offer you Google-grade authentication. So it's based on widely adopted Google infrastructure. We have 8 services with over 1 billion users each. And you don't get there by learning a few things about how to manage identity securely. And so, as I said, delivering that to our customers is our #1 priority. Second, we want to give you customizable, open source and open standards so that you can build on top of it and customize it with your own look and feel. If you want your logo displayed all the way through the login experience, all the way into your application, you should absolutely do it. If you want the color red from start to finish, you should absolutely do that as well. So you'll never see a Google logo, Google login screens, or anything like that when you use this service. But we do give you things like sign-in widgets to enable you to use some of Google's best practices to help people on board, to stop drop-off, to help adoption of your product and your service. We offer broad support for authentication protocols, so OpenID Connect, SAML, OAuth, those sort of things we support out of the box. And we give you client SDKs across iOS, Android, and web, so you don't have to build authentication. You don't have to think about how to interact with our APIs in order to get tokens to sign users in and things like that. And that's great for serverless, modern-style applications. But we understand that in many cases, you're probably moving a service to Google Cloud Platform or some other platform. And you need back-end SDKs. You've got existing servers. You want to be able to validate tokens. You want to be able to do things in a secure and trusted environment. So we give you server SDKs across all the languages you might expect. Python, Go, Java, the list goes on. Now, it wouldn't be a Google product if we didn't deliver you advanced user security. And so with Google, we deliver cross-account protection is one of the ways that we help to protect Google accounts. And we deliver that if you build your service on top of Identity Platform. So what that means is that if a Google account, be it an enterprise account, a consumer account, whatever it may be, is signed into any service sitting on top of Identity Platform, the service gets a notification that this account is actively under attack. Someone's threatening this account and can log the user out, force them to re-authenticate, audit the activity in your logs so you can take action. So you can use Google's intelligence to help protect all of the applications you're building on top of this service. We're soon to offer two-factor authentication to make that even stronger. And so we really want to roll that out and make sure that we, first and foremost, deliver things that are important and meet customers where they are, but start to do revolutionary things. And so you can see some of the interesting things we're doing there in some of the sessions tomorrow around security keys and other bits and pieces. And finally, we're built on Google's secure infrastructure. You've probably heard it a whole lot in the last few hours at least, and you'll hear it a lot more over the next couple of days. But everything from the chips in the bottom of our servers, all the way up to the data centers and to the APIs that are going to be exposed to your end users is using Google's secure infrastructure. And we want to deliver this at planet scale. We are a global service, and we hear over and over from our customers like, hey, I don't want to have to spin up a database in Asia East, and I don't want to have to spin up a database in EMEA. I want this delivered where my users are. One user might be in one place at one point and somewhere else at another point in time. And don't make me have to figure out architecture and things like that. Offer it through a global service with CDNs where the user is, with databases that are local to the user. And no one just buys identity. Identity is not sexy. I want it to integrate with all the things I'm already using. So make it work with functions, log it into Stackdriver, start to use other services that I'm familiar with, that I'm already using, and help paint this end-to-end solution throughout the entire journey my user's taking. And most importantly, you're building a service so that your users can interact with your business. If they can't log in, then they can't interact with your business. So it doesn't matter how great your features are. If they can't get through the front door, that's a real problem. And we understand that. So we're offering industry-leading SLAs of 99.95%. And enterprise-grade support. So if you're using Google Cloud Platform, you have one number to call and they can support you with all of the things that are important in our service. So it's great for me to wave my hands around and kind of talk about it. Let's show you through it. So if we want to flick to the demo, this is Google Cloud Platform. If you're not familiar with it, it's pretty great. And in here, I'm going to go to the marketplace. And so as I said, Identity Platform is generally available today. And so if I want to onboard to it, I can quite simply go to the marketplace, go to Identity Platform, and simply enable it. That's it. So once the service is onboarded, once you're enabled for this service, there's all sorts of things you can do with it. Here's one I prepared earlier. So we support a range of different providers, as I said. So we support Open Standards, OpenID Connect, and SAML, a range of different social providers, as well as signing in with what users have, emails and passwords and things, as well as anonymous, which I'm just going to pause on for a second. Don't ever store information about a user you don't need to. You want to help a user, you want to help build a trust in your brand and help have a user have trust in what they're getting access to. So start light. As soon as they access your application, you might want to sort of start to remember who they are, start to keep tabs on what they're doing. And then over time, as they, maybe they get to a checkout, maybe they want to put their credit card number in or something like that. At that point, then you can step them up. So you can upgrade that anonymous account that you previously created that's been collecting state on that user, and then turn them into a paid user, a named user, or something like that in the future. So this is really, really critical to building that trust, to build that progressive profiling sort of chain. And so once users sign in the first time, we then obviously have a representation of the account. Now, you'll hear from the Mailjet team, what was really important to us was, people have account systems today. We want to interact with what you have. We want to integrate with the services that you've already got. So you can migrate users with their hash passwords directly into our service, or you can create brand new accounts with SAML and OpenID Connect. And there's no need to create these. These will happen just in time if you so desire. So let's quickly flip to a demo. So as I said, this is a completely white labeled service. So I can do whatever I want with it. So I might want to choose to sign in with Google, sign in with Facebook, brand this page the way that I see fit. I might also want to brand it completely differently, support things like SAML, OpenID Connect, maybe integrate with my existing Active Directory environment. And so I'm going to sign in here and use use my super secure password. And we're going to give you a JSON web token back. And so in this JSON web token, we're then going to give you sort of custom claims, information about what we're storing in for that user, so that then you can take that and enter that into a system downstream. You might want to get access to something running inside of Google Cloud, maybe a different cloud. Anything that's got our SDKs in it works just fine. The one thing that's critical here is that we also directly integrate with the endorse announcement you heard this morning. So if you're looking to modernize your SaaS applications, it's really about starting with a strong identity foundation. And so while you're modernizing, you can look to move in place to a modern identity solution and kind of go from there. So that's the end of the demo. So as I said, we're generally available today. And without further ado, I'd love to welcome my two co-presenters to the stage, Francois and Pierre, who'll discuss a little bit more about Mailjet and its use of identity platform.
Hello, everyone. So first of all, thank you very much to be here. It's a pleasure to share that experience with you. So Francois will talk about the implementation, and we introduce the project on the Mailjet side. And sorry for my French accent. So the agenda for the presentation. So first of all, I'm going to talk about our backbone, our architecture. Then I will talk about why we talked about the user management, why it's important for us, and especially why we did choose Google for that. And Francois will talk about the implementation and especially the feedbacks we can give to you today. And mainly the big objective is really to share our experience with you. So there is a QA session just after. So who we are an email service provider. We send all over the world more than 2 billion emails per month. We send marketing and transactional emails. And there is a huge probability that you have an email we sent to you recently or at least during the last month. The platform is really key for us regarding the sending speed, which is something really important, especially on the transactional side. We also have a big marketing ecosystem on top of the platform, and we have a complete set of API. Let's say that all our architecture is reachable through the API. So this is the global picture of our architecture. As you can see, we have, first of all, an infrastructure layer, so data center, network, servers, DB. On top of that, we have all the API ecosystem, private and public. As I said, all our, let's say, core applications are reachable through the API. And we have 3 ecosystems on top of this. The first one is let's say, the marketing ecosystem with a lot of different features and applications. Templating, automation, all you need to send beautiful newsletters. And so this is the first ecosystem. The second one is the API ecosystem. So you can reach directly all our functionalities directly through the API. And the third one is the, let's say, integration ecosystem, which is really important for us because we have more and more big partners than we have to integrate. So you can imagine that using that kind of architecture, we need a very huge and strong and solid user management system. So what is a CIAM? Customer Identity and Access Management. So you probably already know about that. Marc explained that just before. But as a quick remember, it's a service to manage users. Let's say it's a user database. It's also a solution to authenticate users on the platform, on the solution. And it's a set of features to power the user experience. So Marc talked about that. We have a 2-step authentication, for example, audit log, SSO, etc., etc. So user management is everything, especially for us. Why? Because we provide services in B2B and B2B2C. So we have to face multiple user integrations issues. Why? Because each time we have to integrate a partner, we have to take care about the authentication and the identity management. And at this point, all the projects are completely different, so we have to develop a dedicated platform, a dedicated solution to fill the needs. Second topic, why it's really important for us, is regarding the security. The security is really strategic regarding the user management. I think it's quite logical, but we have to take care of this. And also managing, as we do now, local IAM solution is really complex and requires multiple skills, especially on the dev side. And now, probably you face exactly the same needs than us. We have more and more customers asking for social logins. So it's something also we want to provide to our customers, and it's quite complicated when we have to develop that by ourselves. And last point, why it's important, because the sign-up process has to really be fast and easy, otherwise you can lose in terms of efficiency. Some figures regarding Mailjet, so more than 400K users, and we have, as you can see, more than 8K daily sign-ins, so user management is really critical for us. So why we decided to move and to, let's say, revamp the solution? First, because, as I said, it's really strategic for us, because we are a SaaS platform, so we are really directly concerned by this kind of solution. As I said, also, we have more and more partners, and having a new partner on our platform, it's really costly, because we have to develop a dedicated solution. So it's not quite easy, and regarding the time to market, it's absolutely not good. So that's why we really wanted to review completely this solution, this architecture. We also have more and more customers asking for an authentication directly on their directory. For example, we have a big luxury brand. I cannot say the name here, but it's a French one, and it starts with a C, you will understand. So they really want to connect directly their users to our platform without managing user and passwords. I can understand in terms of security, it's not good for them. So that's why we also have to provide this kind of service. The last point, but I'm pretty sure we all agree on this, our set of features is really limited. It's limited because we have to develop that internally, and usually it's not the first topic we want to address when we develop a new project. So in terms of two-factor authentication, we really want to provide this solution. It becomes a standard now in the web industry. We also want to provide social logins, and we really also need activity logs and audit capabilities, because we are ISO 27K certified, and regarding the audits we face every year, it's something really important. And we are not directly concerned now, but we are thinking about that. The mobile authentication, it's also something we really want to provide to our customers. So why did we choose Google? Good question. It took time. First of all, just to decide that we were able to externalize that solution, because it's really sensitive, it's critical. So sometimes it's quite hard to externalize. So first we decided to go for an externalization, and then we had to choose the partner. So why Google? For many reasons. So first, because we are hosted on the GCP, so it helps, and we go natively, we looked at the Google solutions. Also because there is Google provide a lot of functionalities, as Marc presented just before. Also because it's really easy to integrate. You will see it took us less than 6 months to integrate identity platform, sorry, not CICP, in our solution. And it's scalable, which is also something really important for us. We are growing fast, so we really need to have a natively scalable solution. And also for the security, I think Google is really strong in terms of security, at least better than us for sure. So that's why also we decided to go with Google. Two cons. Let's talk about that just 1 minute. The vendor dependence, so you have to accept that you're linked with Google. So it's something you have to deal with. And you also have to accept to externalize that kind of solution and to have a core service in your architecture based on the external PaaS solution. So it depends on your business. You have to think about that, having the pros and the cons. But for our case, we definitively decided to go with Google, and we did the implementation in a very easy way, I would say. And we can talk about that a bit later if you want to go more into the details regarding the decision. Francois?
Thank you, Pierre. So regarding the implementation, so as Pierre said, we have a lot of different use cases to integrate. Customers with a SAML user database. Some want OpenID Connect. Others want to use our G Suite account, and we still have our own user database that we manage today with logins and passwords. So when you have to do everything, it's complicated, takes time, hard to secure. It's not really flexible. And if we dig into the details, this is how it works today. The yellow parts are what we manage directly. So yeah, it's a huge ecosystem to manage. It's also hard to, there is not a lot of value into that. So it's really hard for us to dedicate developers developing identity solutions. So in this architecture, all the connections with external directories or with our partners is something we wanted to externalize. So if we go to the target architecture, in the target architecture, the system is really much more simpler. We just have to integrate with identity platform SDKs, host our user database at Google, and create connectors between our partners and the Google's authentication system. So we still have to distribute tokens for our partner integrations. We still have to also have some lookups if we want to integrate with enterprise directories. I will talk about that later. But still, the system is really much more simpler. You have just one SDK on your web application to integrate. And on our side, we also use the REST API to directly integrate identity platform admin features. So on the client side, we use the Web SDK, which is super easy to integrate. And we use the REST API, so you will see into the documentation, it talks a lot about the SDKs, but not a lot about the REST API. So there is a REST API. It's the features are complete, so you can use it, and that's what we choose to do. On the server side, for token validation, we use the REST API also. In this project, we choose to first just do a drop-in replacement of our main authentication system, so only the user password system, and add the other features after. This way, we were able to deliver really fast this project, and adding other features is really simple because it's already prepared by the identity platform. In terms of timeline, so a long decision, like 2 months decision, because of what Pierre said, really a lot of pros and cons, so we had to decide wisely. And then the implementation was really fast. Architecture design in January, development in February and March, and as now the product is generally available, we'll be able to launch. We decided to not launch within the beta period because this is our own policies, but well, now it's generally available. Some implementation tips. So when you do a project like that, you have to keep in mind that you have your own database on our side. It's something like 400K users to migrate from one system to another. And unfortunately, when we chose several years ago, we chose the proprietary encryption hashing system for our passwords, which is not supported by Google because there are a lot of hashing algorithms available, but standard ones. So we had to find a way to migrate our users without any service interruption. And also, resetting passwords for everybody was not something we can do. So what we decided to do is to do a two-step migration. First step, during a long period, we will collect user passwords when they log to our system. So the workflow is like that. A Mailjet user authenticates around our current internal database. And if the password is valid, we'll sign up the user to identity platform with this password. And when we will have something like 80% of our database migrated like that, we'll be able to switch and say to the 20% that didn't log during the migration phase that they will have to change their password. So there are a lot of ways to do that. We decided to do that like that because we didn't want it to lose a lot of users' time when they log in. In identity platform, there are quotas. So the quotas are well documented, but you can always ask for a temporary increase if you generate a lot of users, of signups. There is in the console something to do that. Another thing that's great in identity platform is logs. So you have activity logs for basically everything. And they are mostly free for the most part. Use it a lot. It's really helpful to ease the debug. It's also really helpful for auditability. So as Pierre said, we are ISO 27K certified. We have to keep a lot of logs due to this certification, so it's really helpful and it's accessible through if you use Google Cloud, it's really easy to access like all the other logs. For REST API, the docs are a bit hidden. So if I have a comment on this product, it was really great to integrate, really fast to integrate. Docs are sometimes a bit hard to find. So with the revamp of the name, it may be interesting to consolidate everything. But it's, yeah, there is a REST API and the docs are there. Finally, just to show you, we revamped the authentication page. So as you can see, we'll have the social logins on the top of the page. And we'll probably change a bit this page when we will integrate the federation with other directories by removing the password box. What we want to do is provide a seamless experience for our users. So we'll probably just ask them to put their email and check in our own database which federated identity provider is used by this user before redirecting him to the right system. This way, we'll be able to either redirect the users using federated identities or ask them for a password in a second phase. So we'll probably have a two-step authentication phase to provide a seamless experience. But you can also just put a button like in Marc's demo to ask for a federated identity provider. Marc?
Thank you so much. So we just did general availability today, and this is really just the start for us. Thanks so much for the Mailjet team for sort of getting on there and giving us feedback, and so we've heard that loud and clear, some of the things that they've said, and so we continue to innovate, and I'll be pretty excited to show them some of the things we've got coming out in the near future. But even beyond that, we've got so much more that we want to do. And so we offer strong authentication today. How can we make authentication so strong that users are never impacted by the authentication experience, but they have the strongest possible authentication mechanisms? And so we're really passionate about protecting end users, making sure that they have this beautiful experience end to end into your application. They're only prompted for authentication when they need to, and when they do go through that, it's through the strongest mechanisms possible. More extensibility. We are a platform. So how can we deliver even more extensibility? Google can be opinionated about some of the things that we do, but how can we offer the right solutions for you? And you say, well, I really like this these three building blocks together, but I need to put these extra two pieces on top of it. And so we're doing all sorts of interesting stuff, integrating across Google Cloud with some of the announcements you'll hear this week, and some future announcements to make sure that you have the right pieces to extend wherever you want to go, whether it be hybrid environments, on-prem, more GCP, other services and things like that. So we're investing really heavily in our extensibility story. And finally, more integrations. As I said, there's great integrations with things like Functions, Stackdriver. We're doing a lot of work at the moment with other parts of the business that are really interesting. And so once you have a user, knowing a user's identity is extremely valuable. And then being able to sort of track that journey, be able to feed that into dependent systems, be able to take action, be able to understand, perform analytics and things like that. These integrations are really important, not from a security perspective necessarily, although they are valuable, but it's really about getting the most value you possibly can out of having users access your system, understanding their behaviors, and so we think that's really important. So it is a priced product, and pricing kicks in at general availability. We do offer a pretty generous free tier if you do want to get started and get playing with it. And these are list prices, so if you do have an account rep, please tell them to reach out to me, and happy to have a conversation. So as I demonstrated in the demo, I encourage you to all go try it. The free tier is really, really generous. Get in, give it a test. If you're starting to onboard to GKE on-prem, Istio, all of those bits and pieces, this is a fantastic service to help you onboard to that quickly if you want a Google stack that's going to work, or start to take these identities and use them wherever you have got a service.